Tennis champion Bobby Mahal now joins us in studio. Bobby, obviously we want to talk about the United States Open. We'll talk about the women's getting underway shortly in just a moment. But on to the men's action tomorrow, the championship final. Two aging veterans here, Andre Agassi and Peter Sampras. How did they get there?
Well, Agassi dominated right from the beginning. I picked him to win before the event started, and he's been getting it done with that dominant return of serve and really controlling the points from the baseline. He's only dropped 2 sets so far, so he's been playing at his best. Now, Pete Sampras, he struggled all summer, and I really didn't pick him to advance to the second week, but Pete's one of those guys that you can never count out. He's worked on his conditioning all summer, and I spoke to Paul Anacone in Toronto, and he told me that Pete's got to understand that he's a lot closer than he thinks, and Pete is a big thing with him is confidence and that serve, and he's really picked up his game this event, and I think it all came together for him with that win over Andy Roddick.
All right, so you're not surprised by the matchup going into tomorrow's men's championship, but it is a great rivalry. I think we can agree on that. You've spent some time historically based on your tennis career with Andre Agassi. Some insight into this rivalry?
Well, Agassi has so much respect for Sampras, and likewise, these guys have such a great contrast in style, and that's what makes their rivalry so unique, is that Pete's got that booming serve, and on the other end of it, Agassi ripping those returns. Now, Andre, the thing with him, he knows, is that even if he plays his best at tennis, he can lose to Pete Sampras, and you can't say that about anyone else. Pete Sampras is just that dominant, so these guys have a tremendous amount of respect for each other, and their best tennis seems to come against each other.
In sports, you're nothing without a prediction, so go out on a limb. Sampras or Agassi, who do you like?
Well, before the event, I picked Agassi to win the event, but you know, with Pete Sampras, he gets a lot of free points on his serve, and here we take a look head-to-head, and on the hard courts, Sampras with a slight edge, and at the U.S. Open, here's a big one here. Sampras has dominated him in the U.S. Open matches that they've played, so you got to favor Pete Sampras just because it's like baseball. A good pitcher will always get out a good batter, so I like Sampras to win the match, but I think we'll see a great final nonetheless.
All right, we'll keep you honest, and we'll find out who wins in this. All right, joining us now to break it down, big game Bobby Mahal. We call him Big Game because when there's a big game, the man is here, our tennis expert here at Sportsnet. And Bobby, no bigger match in tennis than Sampras versus Agassi. And I don't think there was any surprise that Pete was going to come out very hard, and he was on fire in the early going, wasn't he?
Well, right away, Mike, he was controlling the points right from the baseline, moving Agassi all over the court, and aces at key times. That's such a weapon he has, 30 all in deuce to hit that huge eraser of a serve. And when he plays like that, there's really not much anyone on tour can do. And Agassi was just trying to weather the storm, lost the first 2 sets, and then he had a chance there in the third set.
Yeah, no surprise that Pete came out hard, but also no surprise that he got a little bit tired, right?
Well, Agassi was very smart then. He knew Sampras was tiring, and he started extending the points. He only had 27 winners on the day compared to 84, and that was a strategy of his. Keep the rallies longs, move Sampras around the court, and eventually, though, he started getting tight, though. Agassi in the 4th set there knew Sampras was tiring, and then he knew he wanted to extend the rallies, but just got a little bit too nervous, I felt, and had a couple chances there to put the ball away and miss shots that he shouldn't miss. But Pete's such a big champion like that, and when he plays like that, you know, getting that second wind of his, there's not much anyone can do.
Thanks, Big Game. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Mike.
Be able to prevail. Well, Doug, you know, before this match started, we talked about one of the biggest things Brad mentioned is, can Murray consolidate after not only a good tournament or a good result, but breaking serve? And right now, to me, the biggest thing that looks like is the sense of relievement that he had. He's got to get himself back motivated into this match. He had that extra stride in his step when he was up 5-love, but it seems like the sails have come apart, and you're Brad Gilbert right now, you're frustrated because your player has pretty much let Fair find his rhythm back into the match. So Murray's got to get back into form there. Can't be so tentative on the ball. Got to keep that racket speed up. Got to keep hitting out on the ball and not expect Fair to miss. And I think he's become a little bit tentative and hoping that Fair would be making more unforced errors. Well, I think now the big motivating factor is now that Rafael Nadal has stepped up and formed some type of a rivalry, and that's the motivating factor for him now. Tournament wins aren't coming as easy. We even saw Nadal push Federer to 4 sets at Wimbledon, and that was a big surprise for a lot of people. So the factor now is he has someone now who's challenging for that #1 spot, and this is a very important couple of weeks for him now to establish. Now the hard court season, in my opinion, is going to determine that #1 ranking as we head into Toronto, Cincinnati.
It's extraordinary how they've lifted themselves quite clear of the pack.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think the best thing we're seeing about it is they've actually raised the level of their game. Nadal definitely has improved, have an excellent outing at Wimbledon, and he's becoming more of an all-around player. And Federer's backhand, to me, has definitely improved as well. On the clay court season, you could just see him making the progressions, again, getting better and better. And now we're seeing already today has really found that form. So.
Don't drop it short to the forehand of Federer, or you'll lose the point.
Excellent job there by Federer by sensing that short ball, taking advantage. So quick to run around that backhand. That's the most impressive thing about him, how quickly he gets around. Feel like you can hit that ball to his backhand, but he's able to adjust.